So here you play against Lajos?
Against Lajos, he was an international master from Hungary, very well prepared theoretically, and our game will be most instructive because I played this complicated variation for black from Benoni against a quiet line, let's say, with G3 and so on in Benoni, which is very difficult to counter attack for black, because white has a very solid position, and you can do something only if white goes a little bit wrong or if he wants a little bit too much, Yeah.
So what was the case here?
So we try to open immediately with a6. Okay, bishop d2, everything is oriented now, I see. So I took in d5, he took, bishop g7, knight f3, castle, no? So, and now a6, a4, okay. Rook e8. So now the plan is clear. He tries to come, if he can. If you leave him, alone in that kind of position, he plays simply knight c4 and bishop f4. And white is very well, has very good idea to play.
Against
for a win, immediately, like this. This is the plan. Now you have to do something against this plan, of course. So knight bd7, move order again, very important. Now white has to take a decision to play h3 or play immediately a5. If he plays a5, in one moment you have to open the position with b5. And then he has time to take in b6 with the rook in b8 something. And you try to do something on the queen side, but having a small weakness in a6, but active game for black. Or the alternative is to play like this, like in our game. He plays h3, and this is the main line. Now, rook b8. Now, again, he plays knight c4. Here, if instead of knight b6 or knight e5, these are the best two moves, knight b6 or knight e5. Knight e5 was a very important theoretical game between Kasparov and Korchnoi. Korchnoi with white against Kasparov in Lucerne Olympiad in '82. It was a beautiful game, finally won by Kasparov, but very, very complicated. So instead of knight b6, if it's instructive, black is playing b5. If you play b5, is already bad for black, you see, because he takes in b5, you take in b5, and now knight a5, very strong. After knight e5 is very, very unpleasant. Probably you have very good chances to lose here with black, you see. If he arrives in c6, is very bad already. So of course nobody plays b5. So now you have to do something normal. You see that knight b6 is all right. So he goes back to a3 and bishop d7. Now you want a little bit more than an even game here with black. You see, if he wants to do something with white, the game the game continuation is almost forced here. He played bishop f4. Very instructive because I played myself this once. This is not good, bishop f4. It seems excellent for white, but it's not good. I played one game against Ljubojevic, a well-known game from Manila, 73, I think. Finally, I won with white, but it was very complicated. In one moment, it was better for black, So the best move here is knight h5. He gives you the move. Now, after knight h5, I played knight h5.
Yes, also, but here wasn't better to
a5. Yeah, a5. Yeah, instead of bishop f4, a5.
Yes.
Now you have to go back with the knight, but where? The best way to do it is in c8, knight c8. Theory again. I played with Rubinetti and so on with black. You see, the idea now for black is to come with the knight in a7 and b5, to put a piece in b5. And okay. If he takes, you take back with the pawn, and you have 2 pawns, two passed pawns. It's okay.
So if he
comes there, then you have time to play. No, not immediately. You have to play here bishop b5. You see, and then it's all right. No problem for black. You see. But controlling, the move order, very good for black. The idea is to play knight c8, knight a7, knight b5. You see. Okay, so bishop f4. And now, okay, now it's clear. If you take in d6 instead of going back to d2, it's already bad, because if you take in d6, he has time to take in c3. Now, and everything is forced. Bishop takes c3. Now, if you take in c3, you lose a piece after bishop takes a4. He attacks the queen and he attacks the bishop. And it's finished. You lose a piece. So, instead of taking in c3, you have to take in b8. So you're taking, this was my game against Ljubojevic a long time ago. We show it already. So bishop takes c3.
Sorry, so...
No, here, bishop takes d6, bishop takes c3, bishop takes b8. Very, very complicated game. Bishop takes b8. And now black takes in b2. And now the best move here for white is bishop a7. My game was Ljubojevic. But in this position, in my opinion, is better for black already. Okay, he lost the game, very beautiful game, but in one moment he went wrong. But the idea is good for black. I mean, this line is good for black. Okay, so he goes back in d2. And now black is, black takes in a4. This is very, very pleasant for black. I mean, gives you the piece, but then he takes back the piece immediately. Of course, now he takes, and now b5. Now what to do? You have to go back. So, and now b4. And he decided to go to c2, I think. Now, it was a little bit better to go to c4. After knight c4, you have time to take in b3 and then put the bishop in b5. Well, again, very good for black.
To put advantage, the bishop in b5 here.
No, if he played knight c4,
yes.
Knight c4, yes. After b4, no? He could play knight c4, a little bit better. Now you take in c3. If he takes back, okay, with the bishop, you take back and bishop b5. If he takes with the pawn immediately, bishop b5. Again, very good. He has to go back probably in e3, and you have initiative for black, you see. Black is already a little bit better, But it was better than our game. I mean, in c2 is a little bit too passive for white. White has already some problems, So I took there, he took back, and then, okay, very good. Knight f6, coming back, trying to come to e4, you see. So he played c4, and now I play knight e4. Again, very active. And he played a little bit too risky rook takes a6. It seems okay for white. He took a pawn. But now black takes back the pawn with initiative, very strong initiative. Queen c8 is forced, We attack the rook, we attack h3. Has to go back with the rook now. And now we have time to take. Now it's very clear. We have strong initiative against the king, So it's clearly better for black here. From now on, he tries to defend the position, but it's already very difficult, very unpleasant for white, you see. Very strong initiative. So knight g5. f3 was almost forced, because otherwise we have very good attacking chances, almost mate all the time, So if we give one check, it's already too much. So he has to take. Now check. King g1. Just by miracle, he didn't get mated, here. But okay. Very unpleasant. And now, rook b3. e3. It seems the only defense, always, But look, the position is already very, very pleasant for black. Black has attacking chances, Initiative against the king on the king side. Better position on the central square. And the rook very active on b3. It's clear that only black can win, So, okay, bishop c3. We try to trade the bishop because the bishop is defending the square g3, you see.
Yeah.
All right, queen e2. Just by chance he has still this move, because now if you take in e1, he has time to take with the queen, and he can help to defend, Okay. So okay, we take. He took with the queen and rook b8. Of course. Black would make draw immediately if you want with rook b1, but you don't want draw in such a position, Of course, rook b8. Now we have very strong initiative. It seems that we play on the queen side, but you see, the decisive move will be on the other side later on. So, okay, queen f2, tries to defend again. Now, rook b2, very good. Now we control the second rank, So now, okay, everything is clear. And e4, no? And now f5, this is the decisive move. We decided to go again on the other side, but in meantime, we control the b file. The knight from c2 is pinned. We have control on the king side, and attacking chances is too much, and in time trouble is already too much, decisive, no? So rook e1. So, okay, after rook e1, the simplest way, we took, he has to take.
He resigned.
He resigned because if he takes, even if he takes with the knight in f3 with check is winning, but we can take also with the queen first in g3, and after queen g2, he loses the rook, and if he plays, for instance, king f1, again, he loses at least 2-3 pawns and is finished, But very simple is also to take in f3 immediately. We take back the rook, and then we take all the pawns, and okay. And therefore he resigned. Very instructive game, because we can see from one move to another, black has always a little bit bigger advantage, finally decisive advantage. In Sicilian and in Benoni is always like this. If black comes to this kind of positions, it's almost decisive, always. So again, very good example. So I could win the game and win the tournament again, the last round. Very important game theoretically, Theoretically, it was excellent game for black.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.
You're welcome.